Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major and this is Admiralty Reports. This is a submission from RudderlesRussian and he's playing the Scharnhorst, a Tier 6 German premium battleship on a game of domination on Tears of the Desert. Now, Admiralty Reports is your gameplay with my commentary. Now in this game, RudderlesRussian is using Hyde, the German Halloween commander, level 16 legendary 2. Abilities are Brawler, Alidad, Marksmanship, Master Mechanic and Farsighted. Alidad's quite an interesting one as it changes the ricochet angles of your shells and incoming shells against your armour. So it's quite an interesting one if you play a very angled game and you like to try and squeak those angles against an enemy ship with your armour piercing shells, which is quite relevant in this gameplay as RudderlesRussian does use a lot of armour piercing. I'm not really sure if he actually does change to high explosives. Inspirations wise, he does have Cunningham for accuracy and Shear for damage control party reload time and to reduce the risk of catching fire. Now this obviously has the joy of some of the issues that the PlayStation has, that when you do a capture length of 15 minutes or less, sometimes it corrupts the last 2 or 3 minutes of the capture, which means they can't be actually played back on a laptop. So unfortunately the end part of this submission is missing. However, I felt it worthwhile actually going through this submission simply because it was actually quite enjoyable to watch. Now it's a tier 5 and 6 game, evident by the Nuremberg on the enemy team. And the interesting one with this is the way that RudderlesRussian plays the Scharnhorst is very similar to the way I play some tier 7 cruisers, especially the Wichita and the Baltimore. So he pushes into Charlie and starts to get the capture off in a couple of seconds using the island as cover. However, the 2 friendly battleships that also spawned in with him are hanging back, shooting down an enemy aircraft quite early on in the game and getting his one launched as we start to see the enemy coming around the edge of the island. Directly to his front is an enemy Lion. The interesting one is he acknowledges that the caliber of the Scharnhorst guns aren't as good as some of the others, I guess you could say, because the Scharnhorst only has 11-inch guns, and so you'll notice that when he targets enemy battleships, he aims for the deck level or the upper armour bow. So here you can see it's quite evident he's not aiming for the waterline, he's aiming for the upper armoured bow, which is going to be slightly thinner than the main armoured bow, and he's getting himself some decent returns out of it. Now enemy Boise directly to his front. Now Boise is quite an interesting one with 15 6-inch guns, and she has quite a decent repair party as well as radar. So aiming at the waterline here, so this is where the 11-inch guns could be quite useful as it might actually stick in the Boise, but unfortunately that's 4 overpens. Now this Nuremberg gets very danger close, I guess you could say. Now the 11-inch guns on the Scharnhorst should be more than capable of overmatching the bow armour of the Nuremberg. Nuremberg is known for her weak armour, and ouch, there she goes, awarding RudderlesRussian first blood. Now, quickly get that nose in. This is really interesting because the manoeuvrability of the Scharnhorst here is really nice. It makes me think that maybe he has got propulsion mods, because the way he goes from maximum reverse to full speed ahead here is very quick, very responsive. Very quite nice, I should say. Well, that's his first medal and his first kill. Pushing back into the capture zone, it looks like more friendly battleships are turning up to support, so he's got 4 friendly battleships all behind him, but unfortunately he is the tip of the spear and therefore is most likely going to get focused by the enemy. Now here, whether it's a mistake or just lack of awareness, but the Scharnhorst is off to his starboard side and he pushes out just a little bit too far. However, tidies away the Lion quite nicely. That just leaves the Boise, but off to his right, there we go, there's the Warspite, which is a little bit concerning because Warspite does have 15-inch guns, and she can pack a wallop if she hits you in the right place. So here we are, just playing around with our throttle, got it in full reverse, aiming at the deck line of the Warspite, which is correct. For the 11-inch guns, you're probably going to get some nice reward out of that, I hope. There you go, 8,000 damage. Warspite over leads, but If I was Rudderless Russian, I'd start backing it up. Yeah, very nice. And get in behind the island. Get that island between you and that Warspite. You don't want to be overextended and broadside onto that Warspite any longer than you need to be. Because she's going to start doing things like that to you. Now, it doesn't help if the Boise is setting you on fire. That's the thing with the Boise, with 15 6-inch guns, if she keeps firing high explosives, she's going to really start setting those fires and racking up the damage, especially if they have that equilibrium of power ability from the recent legendary skill rework. So aiming at the Boise on the anticipation that he turns out. However, it doesn't turn out as quickly as you'd probably expect. And the Boise is going to be quite difficult to hit because she does have quite a responsive rudder. Getting another volley of AP down range. Just clipping the stern of the Boise, but still it's no apparent. 2 fires to get that put out with your damage control party. All the time being cautious of the Warspite off to your starboard side. Nice, knocking a bit of health off the Boise. She's down to 5,000 health, but you got to keep eyes on her. You can't let her slip away because you can see she's got a heal on now, and she's already back up to 10,000 HP. That's the thing. The repair party of the Boise is an absolute monster. She's nearly up to 15,000 HP, but knocking her back a little bit now. I think she's finished repairing. Oh, someone's really smacked her one, and she's gone. Very nice. Back to the port she goes. So that just leaves the Warspite over here, and then on the enemy team they've got 3 battleships and 1 destroyer over at the Alpha objective. Now the nice one is that Rudderless Russian's friendly team have been able to capture the Bravo objective, giving them the cap advantage. But
this is New
as you're going to be hearing from the friendly New Mexico, over at the Alpha objective there is a Fiji and a Guidey, which is isolated. Unfortunately, I don't think the Fiji's going to be able to unpick herself from that situation. She is not going to like 3 battleships ganging up on her. The Guidey might be able to unpick himself from the situation, but really here it's the Bedoini to Rudderless Russian's front, who really shouldn't be closing into the range of the Warspite like that. I guess it's the joys of only having 4-kilometer torpedoes on the Russian cruisers. Sometimes if you're in a tricky situation you kind of think, well, I have to get closer. Unfortunately, the Bedoini probably could have broken off a lot earlier if he had read the map correctly. However, at the Alpha objective, things go from bad to worse as the, spoiler alert, the Fiji and the Guidey don't make it out of there alive, unfortunately. There goes the Fiji. Now the Guidey does have the most likely chance of getting out of there, but she's already now being picked apart. There she goes as well. So it is 5 battleships on Rudderless Russian's team versus 4 battleships and a destroyer on the enemy team. Thankfully they do have the 2 cap advantage. Now Scharnhorst B is basically the Black Friday Scharnhorst. She's basically exactly the same as the Scharnhorst, but she comes in this distinctive black camouflage, which, well, it does look quite nice, I have to confess. Using his last damage repair party, I should say, of the game, bringing himself up to the remaining amount of HP that he's going to have for the rest of the game. So from here on out, it's only going to be downhill with the HP. Picking on the Warspite, again, aiming at the deck level, using armor piercing still. And the nice one is he's got 4,000 in that volley. But if he can get the Warspite picked off before they start running into the rest of the enemy team, focusing down 1 ship at a time, Warspite's down to 5,000 health. And she's down to a sliver of health and able to dodge that incoming fire from the friendly battleship on the Rudderless Russian's team. So Rudderless Russian should be able to pick off the Warspite here. The nice one is with the Scharnhorst is she does come, yes, with 11-inch guns, but she does come with 9 of them, and that means that she can throw enough shit down range that she's actually going to hit something, unlike the Gneisenhower. It's one of the reasons why the Scharnhorst just seems to come off quite nicely.
Okay, peeps, watch that.
So, enemy New Mexico
Destroyer.
pushing out over there. It looks like to his front there's an enemy battleship
eyes on
round in the island, so he's got to be quite
torpedoes.
cautious here. He's kind of
Not keep a straight
entering
course.
kind of like a
Play
pocket
with
here. He's
your
got the Minuex to his
throttle,
left, he's
play
got
with your
something off to
rudder,
his right.
make
Got New Mexico to his front,
as
something off to his
difficult
left,
to
Normandy off
target
to his
the
right.
torpedo as possible.
Thankfully, the New Mexico is now disappearing behind the island, so actually you can kind of angle yourself between the Fuso and the Normandy by almost heading towards the Fuso here. Down to 20,000 health though.
Easy peasy, I hope.
So just waiting for the Fuso to come around the corner. There she is. So here's the other little trick that Scharnhorst has up her sleeve. Yes, it's torpedoes. Another German battleship with torpedoes. She has 2 triple launchers, 1 per side, and so doing the classic German, the German flip, I guess you could say, getting one volley of torpedoes out and then swishing around to get the other torpedoes out. Taking the Scharnhorst into range where she likes to be. Now that volley you probably could have used HE, but whether or not at the time of when it started reloading, whether or not HE was the right round to use, but then again, it's always awkward trying to predict what the enemy's going to do in the next 17 seconds. Getting in nice and close, making sure that those torpedoes are not going to miss. The Fuso hasn't got a hope in hell here, and the secondary hits are racking up quite nicely. Earning himself high caliber with only a single torpedo hit required to finish off the Fuso, getting himself up to his 4th kill and 109,000 damage. So that just leaves the New Mexico, the Normandy and the Guidey on the enemy team. And looking at the mini-map, the Guidey is way out to the north, so there's not really too much concern in regards to the enemy torpedo boat getting any kind of torpedoes on target. So now the enemy's trying to vacate off to the north. It's time for RudderlesRussian and his team to anchor their defense of Bravo and focus down the enemy. Now I should warn you that we are getting towards the end of the playable video clip, unfortunately.
And watch out for those torpedoes.
However, it should be commented that he does actually get himself into a Kraken at the end of the day. Unfortunately, the final kill is missing off of this capture. So with about 30 seconds of the capture left, we're just going to see what we can do to this New Mexico. Using high explosives. Getting himself the Confederate medal as well.
Congratulations, Scharnhorst.
And getting a very kind pat on the back from the friendly team. And well, with 10 seconds left, that's all folks for the video capture, unfortunately. So one thing I'm always going to recommend to people is, if you can, change your capture length in your settings from the standard 15 minutes up to 30 minutes, because with a 30-minute capture you're guaranteed to capture the entire game and the end screen, even a bit more, and you can always trim it down in your capture library. It is on the to-do list to produce a video in how to capture and edit your capture and submit your capture using the PlayStation. But looking at the end screen, 122,000 damage, Kraken Unleashed, First Blood, Confederate, Dreadnought and High Caliber, 109 hits on target, so kind of showing off the faster reload of the Scharnhorst 11-inch guns. 4 fires, 1 flood and 1 torpedo hit, and a capture assist as well. Making himself 760,000 credits. Once you take the ship service cost off of that, that's probably, he's probably made himself about 600,000 credits at the end of the day there. Made himself a decent amount of ship XP and commander XP. Well, that's been Amity Reports, your gameplay with my commentary. We also do Sea Trials, which is your gameplay with tactical overlays, showing what you could do better or what you're doing well it also is a nice learning tool for other players. So if you do have any of your own game captures, you can always send them in. As I've said, I recommend updating your sharing settings to make 30-minute captures. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe or check out some of our other content. And if you are already a subscriber, I'd like to say thank you very much for your support, comments and submissions, are very much like this one. If you want to support the channel, you can always check out our Patreon page, and as a way of you giving me something, I'll give you something back, and that is things like being able to vote on your choice of future video, and also early access to certain videos as and when I can. Until next time, I'm the Gareth Major, and back to the port.